My next speaker is Cherry Farrow. She is the CEO and founder of Successful Minds Institute, an internationally recognised training organisation in NLP, hypnotherapy and coaching. She is a master trainer and 2 times international best-selling author, motivational speaker, stage hypnotist and master coach. From launching a global training company in a rural South Australian town against all odds to becoming the first in the world to create a clinical diploma of hypnotherapy and NLP, Cherry has dedicated over 15 years to helping people transform and lead. Please make Cherry very welcome.
Thanks, Peace. So this is Kabawi. It's a population of 250 now. When I started, it was 200. Kabawi is 3 hours from the nearest city, surrounded by more salt water than opportunity, so I was told. When I said to my mentors that I was going to build this world-class training organisation, this institute from Kabawi, they laughed. And they actually leaned toward me and they said, very seriously, you cannot build an international training company in a city of less than 1 million people. They said that you need infrastructure, you need visibility, you need a postcode that people recognise. And on paper, they were probably right. But what I've come to understand is that logic is often just someone else's limitation dressed up as advice. So let me ask you something. How many of you have ever been told something wasn't possible for you? Anyone? Yeah. That, in fact, is extremely good. Because what that means is that you are actually standing right on the edge of something wonderful, something powerful. So I'm standing here in Paris today, not because I had the perfect location, but because I stopped letting others and my environment define my expansion. Your geography is not your destiny. Your identity is. For a long time, we're going to talk about the architecture of survival. Now, for a long time, I looked successful. I had a distinguished corporate career. I was deputy CEO, senior leadership, managing major infrastructure. And if you met me back then, you would have thought, wow, she's got it together. What I realised though is that I wasn't building a life. I was actually building a very sophisticated survival strategy. Some may call that a cage. Because underneath all of the success was years of trauma. And like many high performers, I did what works until it doesn't. I achieved, I performed, I stayed busy. Because if I'd slowed down, I would have had to feel. And of course, I don't want to do that, or I didn't. But here's the thing about trauma. It doesn't chase you, it waits. And eventually, or continually, it asks to be seen. When I found NLP and hypnotherapy, I didn't just learn techniques. I experienced something that I didn't even know was possible. I didn't have to manage my past any longer. I actually released it. And in that moment, everything changed because I realised this. I'm not responsible for what happened to me, but I am 100% responsible for what I create from it. And that's the moment that everything shifted. Not my circumstances, it was my identity. And when your identity shifts, Your decisions change. Your standards change. Your entire trajectory changes. And that's when Kabowie stopped looking like a limitation and started looking more like a frickin' launch pad. So I stayed in Kabowie. I didn't make that big city move. There were no perfect conditions. It was just a decision and a mission. And I built. I created the world's first clinical diploma in this field because I didn't want people to just feel better. I wanted them to be qualified, to be credible, and to be unstoppable. And then something extraordinary happened. That ripple began. A woman in Saudi Arabia who was held back by years of conditioning around roles and limitations now runs her own practice as a self-reliance coach, empowering other women to break free from within. And she's also raising daughters who now see possibility rather than limitation. A woman in Pakistan earning well less than her male counterparts ended up starting her own travel and retreat company and took women from Pakistan to Malaysia on retreat. And then Australia, where I worked with a corporate leader who realised that she actually wasn't leading. She was competing, trying to fight through a glass ceiling that she believed was there. And she was using anger and force to drive her team. And when she released and she changed, her team changed. And when they changed, the entire corporate culture changed. And this is what a lot of people don't understand, that transformation is not personal. Transformation is exponential. It multiplies. And when a person changes, it doesn't stop with them. It moves through families. It moves through workplaces. It moves through communities. We now have students in over 10 countries, mainly the Middle East, the GCC. And it didn't happen because of location. It happened because of conviction. We didn't need to be closer to the world. We needed to be clearer in our mission. So what are we building now? A mind-fit world. Just imagine one person in every household who knows how to regulate emotion, who knows how to shift perspective, who knows how to communicate powerfully. Just one. What happens? There's less conflict, less generational trauma, there's more clarity, and so much more resilience. And this isn't just theory, it's practical. Because when you change the way a person thinks, you change the way that they live. And when enough people do that, you don't just improve lives, you change systems. So if I could give you one simple framework to take with you, it's this. Own it, use it, share it. Own your story without letting it define you. Use what you've been through as leverage, not limitation. And then share it, because that's how the ripple begins. That's how movements are built. Now, Paris is often called La Ville Lumière, and sorry if I butchered that, but it's the city of light. Not just because of its beauty, but because it became a centre for ideas, for progress, for change. And standing here today, I can tell you this. The most powerful light in this room, it's not the one that's above you. It's the one that is within you. It's the idea that you've been sitting on, the book you haven't published, the decision that you've been delaying, the impossible thing that you've been quietly agreeing with. And here's what I know. Impossible is rarely a fact. It's usually an opinion from someone who stopped too soon. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need a different location. All you need is a decision. Because the moment that you decide, you don't just change your life, you give other people permission to change theirs. And that's how the world changes. One decision, one person, one ripple. So from a town of 250 now, to a stage in Paris, to wherever you choose next. So I'm going to ask you, what is the impossible thing that you are no longer available to believe? Let go of that bullshit story and go from impossible to unstoppable. Thank you.